Hello, and welcome to our 58th monthly program on buying new releases for rentals. Today is August 28th, Friday. I'm here with Mark and Ken as usual. Let's go to the first page. October is, as best I can tell, the second biggest month in the history of video measured by box office. So this is a huge month. While it's difficult to buy and you should use the money you hopefully saved in the summer, it's not impossible because two titles alone have $1.1 billion. Oops. Okay, here's my tip sheet. We use the last column, which is a store that buys $5,000 a month. If you don't get the tip sheet, contact me. Be glad to put you on the distribution list. This is the Shelf Talker. We recommend that for movie titles that you have 4 weeks protection from Redbox and Netflix, and you advertise it on your shelf so your customers know. And now we're going to the first title, and it's a little odd because October 2nd is a Friday, and there's one title, The Avengers, and this is a mega hit. The first one grossed over $600 million. This grossed over $400 million. This is simply a maximum buy, 28 to 38. Mark?
Yeah, like Bob pointed out, Jurassic World, Avengers, Ultron counts for over $1.1 billion of that box office, so it's really kind of like a normal month, and I think most dealers have a max buy in their head no matter how much the box office. So, in other words, if it did $150 million or $650 million, you're pretty much going to probably buy the same, and add to that, Avengers might be in a lot of people's September budget. Okay, with that said, Avengers is a no-brainer max buy. That's all I need to say. Ken?
I think you said it all, Mark. And I think it's really true that retailers have a max buy regardless of box office. And whatever that is for your store, that's where you want to be with Avengers.
Right. And it does make sense to have a max buy. Okay, the first Tuesday is October 6th, Magic Mike XXL. This is a sequel. The first one did $114 million. This is R-rated comedy, Channing Tatum, 14 to 24. Mark?
Yeah, for me, I think that number might be a little high because, doing a little research, this is going to appeal 2, 3, maybe even 4 to 1, female over male. And I don't know if that, that is a reason to go over a shelf. I think I might hold this to a shelf. What do you think, Ken?
I think I'd be a bit more than that. I think 2 shelves here will do. I think, a lot of the rental decisions are made by women. And the rest of the family or a couple just goes along. So I think you could do 2 shelves here. We should put it at 14. We should put it in Bob's, range.
Next is Insidious Chapter 3. This box office is the same as the first Insidious. This is a franchise. It will go, recommended by 12 to 18.
Yeah, you're right, Bob. This franchise will go. It's got pretty good reviews. Major horror sequel. The box office success. You know what? I like that box art as well. Your numbers look spot on. Ken?
Yeah, I'd go back and look at the last one and see how your store did with that. Probably buy similarly.
Ian Earl and the Dying Girl. I've seen this movie. This is a movie that did not find an audience. This is a terrific movie, and it has a chance of getting an Academy Award nomination for writing. I mean, it's that good. But that said, 6 to 9. Mike? Mark?
Yeah, watch who you're calling Mike. That was my wife's first husband's name.
Okay.
Even though that was 43 years ago. You know what? You're absolutely right. It didn't do the box office they expected. It swept Sundance, the audience and grand jury prize, which is unusual. And this is every bit the equal of Paper Towns, even though it didn't do the same box office. And this will appeal to the same demographic. I suggest at least a shelf for both of these, probably a shelf for both of those. And, I think you're right. It might get some Academy Award nomination. It was that good. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed both of those. Ken?
I think the shelf number sounds pretty good to me. It's going to appeal to a certain audience. It's not for people looking for escapism, which is what many come into the store for. But everybody's been touched by cancer through some person or another. So I think, there'll be an audience for it for sure, and the reviews were pretty awesome.
I I just want to add, because you pointed that out, that it is kind of a form of escapism, and it doesn't deal with the dying girl, even though they give that away in the title, the same way that you would exist on it, and and in a way it's a little bit uplifting. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, it's not a morbid movie at all. I mean,
no, not at all.
Not at all. Okay, we have Hidden Gems. These are titles recommended by retailers. This is the first one for October 6th, but I want to make one comment about October 6th. There are about 50 or so independent pieces of product being offered on October 6th. And the reason, the rumor is that Redbox wants independent product to be released on the first Tuesday of the month for logistical reasons, I assume. And that's why October 6th, or the first Tuesday of the month, is overloaded and will be for the foreseeable future. With that being said, here are the independent products of the first Tuesday of the month. Hidden Shoes, it says not rated, but it's PG. This has a good cast for this kind of movie. It's wholesome, it's funny, it's a family movie, worth getting. Mark?
Yeah, tailcoat off of what you were saying. I always think it's better to buy, to go with breadth instead of depth, and I think buying too deep can be as bad for business as not deep enough. And like we've talked about many times, you can take some of these titles like they're jamming in the first week and spread them out. You don't have to release it the first week; it'll get lost. But maybe some of the good ones, spread them out. Golden Shoes, soccer is growing in popularity in the U.S. No question about that. It's a feel-good, tug at the heartstrings family movie. This is definitely worth a pickup. A couple of copies, I'd say. Ken?
Yeah, I agree with Mark. These kind of sports movies that are PG, and unfortunately it's not rated. It would help it a lot if it was. They just have legs and legs and legs, but the demand isn't crazy at first, so you don't need to go deep on this. I'd bring in like 2 copies, and this thing will rent for the next 18 months.
Last Shift is another hidden gem. All hail the King of Hell. They have a rookie female cop who beats the King of Hell. I love this sleeve. If you got a horror title, that's a good sleeve. Mark?
You know what? I love the premise, and it's got nice reviews. I'm not as attracted to the sleeve as my partner here, Bob, is, but horror genre rents, good reviews. That makes this a no-brainer. I'd pick it up. Ken?
Yeah, I'd pick it up too. I think this is another one. 2 copies would work just fine.
Okay, Dark Places. Charlize Theron. Very small box office. Worth getting just because of her. Mark?
Absolutely. Actually got released on 151 screens. Like you pointed out, terrific cast with Charlize. Who doesn't want to look at her? And she was the star of the latest Max movie. This is definitely worth a couple of copies, just because of her. Ken?
Yeah, I agree. And that box art just kind of jumps out at you, too. So a couple of copies here, I think it's a pretty sick bet.
Escobar, Paradise Lost, familiar subject, good star, decent scores, probably worth getting.
Yeah, Bob, you're really getting broken up there on me. I hope everybody else can hear you. I agree. It is a very familiar subject. Netflix just came out with their series on it. This is, again, they pushed this in L.A. when it came out. It didn't do much, but it got a lot of good reviews and attention. 2 or 3 copies make sense to me. Ken?
I don't like the box art. It's got a cheap kind of...
Yeah, very dated.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. But it's a great... What's that?
Illustrated.
Yeah, it does look a bit illustrated. I'd go with 2 copies.
I'm getting some feedback here.
Yeah, you're really broken up for me, Bob. I know this. That proves that this is live. You're really broken up.
Okay. Because you can take a look at El Pacino, that's all I can say. El Pacino, worth getting because of that. Seems like El Pacino's coming out with a movie every month. But I don't think it matters. It's worth a couple.
I heard El Pacino and Mark. That's that's about all I made out of that. Yeah, Academy Award caliber cast. It did have a limited theatrical release. Ken said on the last one, I don't really care for this box art at all. Again, it's going to appeal to the geriatric crowd, which Ken says is pretty significant. So, you pick it up, a copy or two. Ken?
Yeah, I think this is go with another 2 copies here. I mean, Al Pacino's going to rent. I mean, there's no question about it.
Right.
People aren't going to be banging down the door to get this movie. They probably never heard of it, unless you're in L.A. So I think you can pleasantly surprise them with 2 copies on the shelf, and they'll say, that's a Pacino movie I haven't seen. I got to grab it.
I think it's Mark's turn. I don't know, Ken, are you having a hard time hearing what he's saying, or is it just me?
No, it's me too. It's almost, Bob, might even be worth hanging up and then trying to dial back in.
It really might be. We really can't hear what you're saying, and I don't think either will the recording.
So what do you think of what we did on our holiday, Mark?
Okay, Rosamund Pike, she's star of Gone Girl. She's getting to be very popular. I also saw they pushed previews of this in the theaters, and it looked funny as hell. It's a good British comedy, has good reviews. It is currently available on demand, so, for diversity, I would pick this up, a couple of copies, or, British comedy, good British slapstick comedy like, Death at a Funeral does well for you. Let's, pick this up. Ken?
I agree with you. I think it's picking this up is a sure thing to do. A couple of copies here would be fine. It's a bright box. It's going to jump off the shelf visually for a bit. And,
right.
It's going to appeal to that market segment that's families with after PG-13 films.
I agree.
So then we got 10,000 Saints, October 6th, no box office, R rating, comedy drama. What do you think, Mark?
Marquee cash, just like, the holiday movie we just talked about, it's currently available on demand, but, everybody knows what those are. It's still worth the pickup with that cast. Would you agree, Ken?
Yeah, I would. And, while it's available on demand, there's a chunk of our, customer base that just doesn't bother with that. And that's the customer base we still have. So to them, this is what's going to be new. And I think, a couple of copies, this is a safe thing to do.
Okay,
I agree.
I switch phones. Is there a difference?
Yes, there is. Now I can hear Bob. Welcome back, my friend.
Okay, let's move on. San Andreas, second Tuesday of the month. The Rock, Maximum Buy. Mark?
Well, yeah, like Bob was talking about earlier, how wide that first week was. We discussed 16 new releases. I mean, that might be a record for us, San Andreas is definitely a max buy, in my opinion, 28-day window. Dwayne Johnson is an action hero. He does terrific in home entertainment world as well as theatrically. This, like we were talking earlier, this did $500 million less than Jurassic World yet. I'd say it's a max buy, and it'll rent neck and neck with it. What do you think, Ken?
I think you're pretty right there. I think Avengers may have longer legs, but I think San Andreas is a max buy. There's no question. People love these kind of movies, too.
Their escapism, they do.
Yeah.
Tomorrowland. To me, this is the hardest title of the month to buy for, and I know Mark disagrees, so that's good. My recommended buy is 12 to 18. It got killed by the reviewers, and was a big disappointment, but it has a lot of publicity. A lot of people know about it. PG, Mark?
Yeah, sometimes that can work for a movie when it gets killed by the reviewers. I think one of the things, the budget was so ridiculously high. They spent $40 million more in this budget than they did on Jurassic World, It only did $208 million worldwide box office, but, I know Disney wasn't happy with it, but it is a terrific, old-school, feel-good, for everybody in the family a movie. I'd add mystery suspense to that, and you know what that translates to? It translates to at least 3 full shelves for me. Ken?
I'd be right in there with you, Mark. I think this is a little higher than what Bob's got there. Clooney's a big pull. You got a PG rating. I mean, this is like a whole family, or it's also going to appeal to people looking for sci-fi or adventure or anything. If the box office is a bit disappointing, that just means there's more people that haven't seen it in the theater that want to see it by rental. So, yeah, I think your 3 shelf is a pretty good number.
I would say, I just want to add, I would say, like, this felt like a Back to the Future quality movie where it was, clean, old school feel. And, who knows what Back to the Future would do in this day and age. This is a good movie. Don't ignore it.
The Gallows. Horror, R-rated, 7 to 11. Mark?
Yeah, now I love the artwork in this one. The 28-day window, they advertised the heck out of this in the theaters. And I think on TV as well. I don't like those low IMDb numbers. That scares me a little bit, but it's a scary movie, so who cares? Let's just say it's going to start off with a bang and hope it holds. I think Bob's numbers are perfect. Ken?
Yeah, I mean, I like the window for the hardcore horror fans are going to be looking for it. So I'd say, shelf could do. If you get pressed for a budget, I'd probably back it off, maybe do 5.
Dope. This is a movie that has very good reviews, has very good scores. I think it didn't do that well because the title, nobody knows what it means, and that sleeve, it's a much more intelligent movie than what the sleeve shows. So this is a tough one too, but I would say 6 to 9. Mark?
Yeah, I don't want to be mean to my good friend Bob, but I think everybody knows what dope means. I'm sorry. Okay, so I love you, Bob. This is one of the nominees for Sundance Grand Jury, so it is great reviews, like Bob pointed out. And considering the success of Straight Outta Compton, which was a great movie, one of the best movies of the year, this might outperform its expectations. The title might scare some people off, but everybody knows what it means. I'd definitely do a shelf on this. If you have the right demographic, even more. Ken?
Yeah, I think a shelf of this is what I would be doing here.
Okay, The Little Death. This is another hidden gem. It says not rated, but this is an R-rated sex comedy about 5 couples with weird fetishes. This is an Australian movie, did really well over there, has very high scores. Mark?
Yeah, actually rated PG-13 in Australia, which kind of raises the question, in Australian comedy about sex and sex fetishes rated PG-13, but you know what? It works. It's a really good drama, dramedy. I would say it's a good little gem. This is a perfect little hidden gem. It's a very good movie, and I'd pick up a couple of copies. Ken?
Yeah, I'm with Mark there. A couple of copies here, and I think I'd be good with that. It should do well.
Faith of Our Fathers. This is put out by the same people that did God is Dead, and that is the genre. Mark?
Yeah, a faith-based Christian film. 50% of IMDb viewers gave a 1 out of 10. That's hard to ignore, but you know what? If you have that demographic, you have to pick this up, and I think most people have that demographic. I think it might be critic-proof. What do you think, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got some percentage of their customer base that falls into that demographic, so I think you need to probably bring it in. The question is how many, but they're a patient lot too, so you could do 1, 2 here, and I think be fine.
We're on to the third Tuesday of the month. This is Jurassic World. This is Maximum Buy. Mark?
Absolutely. People love themselves a dinosaur movie. It's just hard to imagine this. This did 1.6 billion worldwide box office. Even to jaded people like ourselves, that's impressive. This is the new #1 all-time box office champ. Whatever your max buy is, you do that, and even with all that we said previously, maybe have a few more under the counter in case you might need them. What do you think, Ken?
Yeah, you have to max this out. The real question is, do you have a way of taking advantage of any sell-through opportunity for it? Because people are going to buy this. And with that 28-day window, it helps rental and purchase. So, max it out and then look at sell-through possibilities.
Paper Towns. This is another movie based on a John Green novel, coming of age. He writes good stuff. this is entertaining, 11 to 15, Mark.
Yes, you're exactly right. He does write good stuff, and he has this following. We talked about this with Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. It's a very similar type movie, and it's to the same demographic. I compare this to Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, and not to his other book, The Fault in Our Stars. It's a very excellent movie. It has a 28-day window. But here again, I'm going to hold this to a shelf because that's what I think that demographic typically would appeal to. Ken?
Well, we got a 28-day window. Got a $31 million box office, PG-13 rating, popular writer, and the people know about this movie. So I'd probably go. I'm going to go more than a shelf. Maybe do like 12 pieces.
Dragonball Z Resurrection F grossed to $8 million, and I never heard of it. And I have no idea how to buy this. I put 3 to 5, but I have no idea. Mark?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Bob. I swear, this looks like someone pulled this box off a shelf from the 90s, of an old 90s video store. I never heard of it, 43% of those 6,000 IMDb votes, they gave this a 10. So, but keep in mind, of those 6,000, only 330 of them were female, so I don't know. I'm with Bob. I don't have a clue with this movie. Ken, it's all on you.
I'm not. I know we have other titles like this, earlier ones. They go way, way back. So maybe it's a nostalgic audience coming back for one last try at this kind of anime. But I'd bring in 3 pieces and just see what happens.
The Wolfpack. This is a documentary, very critically acclaimed, great scores, very interesting subject, very unique, worth having. Mark?
Yeah, and documentaries have really come into their own anymore. They're really in genre, and this is another really good one. Fascinating, really. Definitely worth the pick up if you're in a college town. Maybe more than one. Ken?
I'd pick it up, and I'd probably limit it to 2. I'm in a college town, but the college kids don't come to the video store.
Okay, the Vatican Tapes. This is your exorcism story worth getting because of the word exorcism. Mark?
That's probably true. I love the artwork on this. I do. You probably can ignore that low IMDb score. $8.5 million budget, recognizable cast. If you rev share with Volvo, this is an easy call because it's Lionsgate. Otherwise, maybe 3, 4, 5 copies at least. Maybe a shelf. Ken?
I agree with you about the box art, and if you rev share, that's a no-brainer. If you don't, I'd probably go with like 4 copies.
Z for Zachariah. 3 interesting actors working together. This is October 28th again, and this was the lead review article on the Wall Street Journal today, and it's only playing on 28 screens, so you have to have this. But how many you get, I'd start out with 2 or 3 and then see how the movie does. Mark?
Yeah, they have a pretty big spread of it in the LA Times this morning as well. Some say it's too cerebral, others say it's brilliant. Obviously it's not going to be for everybody. I don't know how much it's going to catch on in the theaters. I suspect it's going to be limited. So I'm going to say, because of that cast and an intriguing storyline, I would say at least 2 or 3 copies. Ken?
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think the cast is really what's going to attract people, and then who knows what the word of mouth on this will become, like Mark said. So I'd probably bring in 3 pieces, and if the response is overwhelming, you can always go out and get more.
Exactly.
Testament of Youth. This is a World War I story. It has a 1.7 million box. It has good stores. This will make your store smarter, as Ken would say. Mark?
Yeah, there's those of us, and probably all 3 of us, that really enjoy this type of a movie. A coming of age movie. It is a period piece, World War I period piece. The beautiful Alicia Vikander. She's the star of The New Man from U.N.C.L.E. She was the star of Ex Machina. And Kit Harington is, the Game of Thrones Jon Snow, which almost everybody in the world knows who he is. But it's still a period piece. But it's a really good period piece, so I'm going to say I'd do a couple of copies. Ken?
I couldn't say it any better. A couple of copies is what you get here.
I Spit on Your Grave 3. I think you should get this. This is, I think, a movie series that was invented by video stores many decades ago. So just for nostalgia, you got to get this, Mark.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that is it really only 3? Only Spit on Your Grave 3? It seems like, there's been more. I think the artwork could have been a lot, racier, or more shocking or something, but seductive, but they did bring back Sarah Butler from the 2010 version, so, this will rent. I'd say 2 or 3, Ken?
Yeah, that's dead on. I mean, this is definitely going to rent. People have seen the first 2. We're going to be all over this. So, and nobody's expecting an Oscar winner here. So, it's not going to be. So, yeah, 2-3 copies is good.
Maybe a Razzie.
We're going on to the last Tuesday, and I could be wrong, but I couldn't find any good independent product because they released it all on October 6th. Just so you know that. So as we show October 27th, they're just the mainline movies, of which the first one is Pixels. Did not get great reviews, but who cares? It's Adam Sandler and Kevin James, and they are popular 12 to 18. Mark?
No, I'm with you. I looked and I couldn't find any either. And, it just goes back to that same idea. Maybe grab 2 or 3 of the ones that look really good to you from the first week and, pop them in this week. Nobody will know. With Pixels, we all know Adam Sandler comedies are pretty much terrible, and they pretty much continue to rent well anyway. I don't think Pixels is any different. This had an $88 million budget. It did $174 million worldwide. So to me, Bob's numbers look perfect. What do you think, Ken?
I'd go a little higher if I got the budget for it, just because it's a comedy. We've had mostly huge action kind of movies for blockbusters this month. But I wish they got some of the cast photos on the cover somewhere. That would have really helped it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's not the final artwork, so...
Oh, it's not? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
right. Okay, the second movie for the fourth Tuesday of the month is Southpaw. Great reviews, great genre, boxing. Jake G is rumored to be nominated for Academy Award. We'll find out 5 months from now. Just made for video, 12 to 18. Mark?
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal is one of those people that every time he does something, somebody is going to definitely consider him for Academy Award. He's that fine of an actor, and he does a terrific job in this. I really like that box art. It was a really well-made, exceedingly well-acted boxing movie, but we've seen it 1,000 times before, but, a lot of people want to see it again. Again, I'm going to say Bob's got that number right on.
I love the box art as well, and the cast is outstanding. I like the high end of Bob's number. I like that 18.
Max. This is a PG family story, but it's edgy because it deals with death in war and how it affects people at home. So this is kind of like a profound PG, if that's the right genre. Recommended by 11 to 15. It shows really nice. It plays really nice. It's a nice story. Mark?
Yeah, I didn't have the privilege of seeing this, so I didn't have that same perspective. I know America loves dogs and Marines, and it looks like a big studio family flick, but it's nice to hear that, not only does it get good reviews, but it gets Bob's stamp of approval. I'm going to say that then that number's probably accurate. Ken?
Yeah, it's a nice box office. Really a sweet spot there, $41 million. It's unusual for PG rating here. Kind of really opens up the audience for it. So I'd go 2 shelves.
The Gift. This one confuses me, and I just don't understand. It was released theatrically August 7th, and now it's going to be released on video October 27th. It's an interesting movie. It has very good reviews. 11 to 15. I have no idea why they're releasing it so fast. Mark?
Yeah, try to figure them out. The studio's out in their release schedule. This is probably the best movie of the final week of October, but I didn't see Max, and I suspect it may be the best renting movie as well. Super good reviews. That 28-day window will help because, adding to that suspense, it has a horror feel to it, in the same way that Fatal Attraction had that horror feel to it. And I think this is going to undoubtedly pick up strong word-of-mouth recommendations. It has sleeper hit written all over, in my opinion, especially with that quick turnaround to DVD and Blu-ray. I also wanted to mention, don't forget Barbie and her sisters are coming out this last week.
Okay.
Because Barbie's rent.
I think people are going to notice the box art, that's for sure. But it's got kind of a horror feel to it on the box art there. 31 million, though, still, a sweet box office in 28 days is awesome. So I'm going to be looking at like 2 shelves.
All right, we're done. Here's the assumptions. We don't go over them anymore. Unusual month to buy for, but a very high quality month. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next month.